Hello, everybody, and welcome to Girls Guide to Greatness. I'm so excited. I know I say that on every episode, but I truly am this time because it's a very special episode. I get to interview my own baby girl. Jessica Brooks is with me today, and she is here to actually piggyback off of what we just talked about earlier this week, mentoring millionaires and how to coach your kid into being a boss. This is a book that I've been kind of messing around with for a little bit, for about a couple of years now. It's not done yet, but when it is, I'll let you guys know where you can get a copy. In the meantime, since I was able to share with you some of my tips and tricks as a mom and a parent and how to coaching your kid into being a boss, I figured, why not have my own daughter come on the show and actually share with you guys actually the experience she had growing up with a single mom who had these amazing big dreams, audacious dreams. And it was just, had a fire about entrepreneurship and about health and fitness and all the things that make me me, and how they were impressed upon her and how it changed her life and transformed her life. So Jessica, thank you so much. Your mommy loves you.
I love you too.
Thanks for being on the show.
No problem. Anytime. I love being here.
Yeah, you're excited?
Yes, definitely.
Well, I'm super excited. So I talk about you a lot on the show. And so can you just give us like a brief background of how you grew up and, as an only child with a single mom? How did that go?
So for the most part, it was actually, that was the norm. So I didn't see it as, anything else. Of course, other people had, different lifestyles, different just situations in their life where, of course, they have a dad present and they would kind of question how I was feeling without one. And I was just like, well, doesn't feel any different because, it's just not in my life. It's not needed because my mom was, the superwoman. She did everything. There was like no missing piece because everything was perfectly linked together. It was good for me. And so I feel like I was super fortunate and super blessed to have, a super mom as my mom because, like I said, she was the provider, she was the caretaker, she was the
You say me.
support.
I'm right here.
Yeah, the protector, she was everything. I didn't necessarily need what the other kids had, nor did I want it that bad because, I was being taken care of regardless. And definitely made me stronger as a person because seeing my mom as an independent woman, of course, drove my instinct to be an independent woman as well. Sometimes it gets the better of me and it's hard for me to ask for help, or it's hard for me to really rely on other people because I rely on myself so much and I trust myself so much. And, of course, these are also good things, but it's just that balance of knowing that, yes, there's a lot you can do by yourself and that's awesome and you're awesome and you can be superwoman all day long, but know that you don't need to save yourself every single time and you don't need to be this warrior, this hero, this thing that you always wanted, always aim to be. There's other people in the world and other people that want to help you, that want to love you, that want to support you. There's other, those support systems out there. And so it's just like, they're taking that time to realize that is also really important. And I feel like, we grew together and that was another thing. We were very close since it was just us. We were like best friends. We still are best friends. And just like best friends, we still have our fights every now and then, but we always come back together, which is super amazing because I feel like that bonds us even closer. And we just have a very special relationship that I feel everybody needs to have with a parent, especially since, parents are such a big impact on children. Like you said, just growing up, I always looked to you for how to handle situations, how to, be this ambitious, amazing person that you are. I've always envied, or I try not to envy, but I've always just looked up to how you're always on fire for things. Like, I'm like, how do you do that? How do you just get motivated? I was like, what is motivation? Sometimes it's weird, but definitely you made my life what it is today, and it's awesome because it was all meant to be, and now I'm amazing. So
Oh, thank you. That's amazing, Jess. Oh my gosh, I couldn't have said it any better. You're awesome. You're making me smile from ear to ear. And you're definitely playing off a lot of the same topics that I've been talking about and discussing on my podcast. So it just links right up. So I'm super excited. Can you remember an instance where, or what is the one thing, I guess, that the one big lesson that you've learned out of all the lessons, what really rings true to you today still?
Oh, wow, there's a lot. I'm trying to like think of like big ones. I know always having, you know, God incorporated in your life is like a huge thing. And I always remember you telling me little Bible stories and things like that. And I'm like, that's in the Bible? I need to read that thing. And it's just like, it really is like the word just gives you so much just like beginner tutorials on how to live life here on earth. And so I feel like that was like one of the big things that I always have to, you know, go back to or ask you about. I'm like, Mom, what was that one story you told me? Because I feel like it now like is in the perfect alignment in what I'm going through. Or I'm trying to think of other things. Mm-mm-mm. I guess just really that passion for what you love and not being told by other people that you can't or you won't
Mm,
or you
it's a good one.
just yeah,
Especially
you
seeing
just
your mom coming from a poor background and a poor family
yeah.
who's kind of locked in old traditions and old mindsets and old ways of doing things. You
Mhm.
saw me that you saw your mom, you know, kind of struggle at the beginning because I didn't know how to navigate and I had to learn the hard way a lot of times and really
Right.
strive for more because I knew I wanted more.
And you're an overcomer. Like you've overcome the odds so many times and it's not even funny. And it's just like you are that like one in a million in my mind. Like you are always the one who comes through who like just, you know, always just is on top. And I'm just like, ah, so amazing. And
Thank
it's just
you. I
like
love
so
that. Well, I
awesome.
have to give the glory to God because I'm telling you, a lot of those times that were the scariest for me that I didn't think I was going to make it and I was totally crushed. I already knew that it was just amazing to see God come in and just come in and save us and save me and really guide me to, like you said, overcoming that issue or guiding me to really realize that I could do this, that I could make it, I could survive and not just survive, but learn how to thrive. And I think for me as a mom, that was one of the biggest lessons that I was able to discover is that I didn't have to be in survival mode all the time, that there truly was a place to thrive and that we were meant to thrive. And I was
Yeah.
able to share that lesson with you as well.
And I
Okay.
always feel like you just had that like, you know, that brave face, but you always felt it on the inside as well. It wasn't just an exterior thing, it was interior as well. So it wasn't just like, you know, we're going to make it through whatever situation or like I'm going to start this business. We might be a little shaky in the beginning, but we're going to make it in the end. And like it doesn't matter how many businesses you started. I don't even know, I've lost count,
It was
but
a
you
lot.
always did it and you always were just like, you know, I'm going to do it on the outside, and it was also an inside thing. So I feel like that's why
Yes.
you were very successful in everything that you did, because it wasn't just, you know, I'm going to do it. It's I did it. It's, you know, it's
Oh, I
happening
love
right.
it.
Yeah. So
Yes, that is amazing. I love that. Okay, so what about some of the mistakes that I've made as a mom that you were able to experience and actually say, you know what, I'm never doing that, or you know, just
yeah.
like something that really sat with you to make you aware not to do those things and to kind of set you up for success to avoid those pitfalls in your own
Right.
life.
So I feel definitely, you know, feeling your emotions and just, you know, not being afraid to let other people see that you're vulnerable and that you're hurt and that you didn't like what they said because it really, you know, touched a chord or something. And it's just like, I definitely want to give that to my children as well. I saw an amazing video the other day of this father talking his daughter through her anger. It was beautiful. He was just like, it's okay to feel this, just don't stay here too long. I know that me and you joke around and sometimes daddy gets mad and sometimes you get mad, but you just let me know and I won't mess with you that day. Just we need to communicate and like let each other know how we're feeling and everything like that. And I thought that was beautiful. And I was like, that's what I want to do with my kid, because I feel, you know, since you were a single mom and this is your first child, you don't know what you're doing, you know,
Right.
you're trying to do the best. And of course, you know, when you see your daughter sad or upset or hurt, you don't want her to feel that anymore. And so you just kind of, you know, tell her to stop, like, don't feel that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you should definitely feel your emotions, because then it
Right.
just builds up or it has an impact on you later on in life, which is something that we don't want to do, because then we just have this whole past hurt in our lives and it just follows us through life, and that's not good either. So, you know,
Yeah.
of course I've learned to feel my emotions now, and of course you've learned to do the same. So now again, we grow together, we always are on the same page about that, which is awesome. But yeah, definitely emotions and just also being in the moment more and everything, and just yeah, accepting your blessings, just focusing on the things that you do have versus the things that you don't, or the things that you want so badly, but you need to actually have a plan to get there. And so all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. That's so good. That's so great. I'm glad you said that because I had mentioned that in the previous podcast that, I had my own mistakes that I've made and I felt like, I could have been better in a lot of areas. A lot of moms feel that way. A lot of parents do. And, but you're right. I was always trying to figure out how to make this work because I am one of those people who doesn't like to show my emotions and I'm strong and courageous super mom all the time, but that you don't have to be that all the time. And I'm learning to let go. I'm learning to say, hey, if we have to cry, if we need to cry, then cry. If we need a hug, we need a hug, and not to get so caught up, in the awkwardness of it all, and just let it happen. So as you were in school, as a high school student, or even middle school and junior high, what were some of the things that you noticed that set you apart from the other kids in the school, that you noticed and you're like, I see that they're on a certain path, but I'm on a different path. Like, can you share some of those examples?
It really hit me like a truck in high school that I was not like everybody else. Like, of course, in middle school, I feel like that's the prime time to try and blend. You become a chameleon. All you want to do is fit in. You just want to be like everybody else. You want to get the same shoes. You want to have the same lunches. You just literally don't want to be any different from anybody else because that is not the time to be unique. That is the time to try and find yourself. And it's just like, even if you did see someone who truly wanted to be different or just unique or had their own style, it's just like you kind of put them off. You're just like, that's weird. Like you just saw it in your head as weird because they were trying to be different. And at that age, it's just different. It's just like you've never seen that before because everyone else is trying to fit in. And then you go on to high school and you start really learning more and more. Of course, as we grow, we just keep learning and we start figuring out that, oh, it's okay to be myself and it's okay to be unique and different. And actually, I prefer it because I don't want to be like everybody else. At the end of the day, it's just like, what's so special about everyone else when I'm me? I've always learned from this one quote, and it said, the original is better than a copy. And so I always stuck with that because I'm just like, I am not better than other people, but I only see myself as a better version of me rather than comparing myself to others. And I feel like as soon as I went into high school, I started realizing that. And I started realizing that not everyone was raised the same way as me. Not everyone is caring or very, not set in their ways, but just like not very, like just that mindset was different. I feel everyone always thought I was older because I was so wise. And I've always had that wisdom in my head. Like I always look for different angles, or I'm just very optimistic, and I was very like a ball of joy, honestly. Like everyone loved me. I was always just like in this great mood. I was ready to start the day. I was ready for life. Like
Very
I was
friendly.
exactly.
Open. Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be my friend freshman year. I remember like walking into the gym, and that's like the first place you go before you go to your first period. And it's just everyone. They have the girls on one side and the guys on the other, and everyone's mingling, everyone's talking. Of course, you go to your friends from like middle school, you're like, hey, oh my gosh. But then you start getting those new friends, those new people who are seeing you for the first time. And of course, you're kind of like judged from your outside appearance. And it's just like, okay, so this is what she looks like. She's very different looking. She's cool. I remember I was wearing like this red shirt and I had like this black necklace on, and I was like, I was always fashionable at school. I felt like it was.
I know you were. You taught me about fashion. I wouldn't be looking this good if it hadn't been for your influence.
Exactly. Dress to impress, girl, always. And so that's exactly what happened. I was always leaving that great impression on people. And so I feel like that first, interaction is just like, well, that's how she looks. She's very approachable. And that's another thing that I learned, that I'm very approachable. And slowly, of course, I kind of just faded into this whole different look on my face and everything, especially if I don't know people. I kind of just like go down to like this, I don't know.
Isn't there an instance where you told me that you were sitting in class one day and you were doing your budget, and someone looked at you and said, what is a budget? Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Can you tell me about that?
Definitely. Or I just remember because I was paying my car note my junior year, and nobody else is paying a car note. Everyone else's parents just gave them a car.
Dave Ramsey will be proud of us.
Exactly. I remember going to the Dave Ramsey courses with you at church and everything like that. So I understood that it was very important for me to start learning about money because one day, today, I'm going to have to start, making sure I know where my money is going and managing it well. And so I remember I was sitting there trying to figure out, I was like, okay, so this is how much I get paid. I was working at Old Navy at the time. Okay, so Old Navy's paying me this much. My car note is this much. But if I pick up another shift, I'll have some extra cash left over and I can go shopping and get that pair of shoes that I really wanted. And then I started going down the
Yeah.
list and it just felt really good to budget. And I still budget to this day, actually.
Yeah, but the kids in your class were just so surprised because they weren't being taught that.
Exactly. And so it's just like you learn that, not everyone again is like you and not everyone has an
Right.
amazing parent like you. Like you've taught me so much that is just so different from the norm and what everybody else kind of does.
Don't you
But yeah,
think
here's
that's
my budget.
important because it actually, oh, there you go. She's showing her budget there. It's a beautiful thing. That's my girl.
Yep.
So, and and all the things that we're talking about is important because I noticed that with a lot of high school students, including myself, after graduation, you're kind of like moseying around like lost, in some sort of tandem state. And it's like they're confused or challenged or whatever because they were not prepared for that moment to start to begin to, be into adulthood, I guess, start adulthood and actually be in that moment of becoming an adult. So I think it's important that, you learned all these things. And then I remember one of your very first jobs was as a cashier at a little restaurant, Chinese restaurant. I'll never forget the phone call I got from you because you were so frustrated that you were making pennies, and you're like, what were the words that you told me? Can you remember what you told me about your first job?
I do not
Something
even remember.
about you were like, oh, I'm so done with this. I don't want to work for my money.
Oh yeah, I want my money to work for me.
Yes, I want my
I'm
money
always
to
like
work for me. I love it. What was some of the things that you would notice between parents? Because I know you would come home with stories and you would say, Mom, why are you so different than all my friends? Like your friends' moms would go out on the weekend and party and come home at 3 a.m. when I'm over here maybe, studying or going to school or running a business. Like,
yes. All my friends' moms
what
were
were
very
some of these differences?
it's just like, depending on what friend I was going to or something, one friend's mom, would drink all the time. And she's over here like pretty much drunk most of the time that I would be over or something. Or not most of the time, but she liked to drink a lot. And it was just really different because you're not a drinker. And so there was never a beer can in the fridge, never like a wine bottle on the side or something. There was never alcohol in our house, like ever. And I definitely love that because now I'm not a drinker and I'm just not about it either. But, that's just a different thing. And then I remember another friend, her mom kind of did a lot of different foods and stuff. I know you were always kind of like a healthy person. And so you always had fat-free milk. And
Oh
I would go to this
gosh,
other
yes.
friend's house and she had whole milk or 2%. And I'm like, bro, the milk is sticking to the glass. Like, this is crazy.
Remember your friends when your friends would come over for the weekends. I had to get prepared because I would remember the first time they came over, I wasn't prepared, so I had zero junk food in the house. And so
Yes.
then I learned, I was like, okay, now I got to go get chips and soda and all this stuff to be prepared, because
My
I
friend
wasn't ready.
literally had to bring her own food over because she knew we did not have anything that was like, cereal,
The
Fruit
average
Loops.
American diet.
Exactly. We didn't do that in our house. Like it was very different.
I love it. Okay, so Jessica, tell me a little bit about when you graduated high school. You went for a gap year. Where did you go?
Went to Australia.
All
Oh,
right,
the
tell me a
damn
little bit
undocumented.
about this because I think this was like the shining moment of what literally when you were stepping out of being a kid into adulthood for you. I
Yes.
know everybody has their own moments and their own timing, but I know this was kind of a stressful time for both of us. I know me as a single mom, I was worried about you and everything, but tell the audience a little bit about that experience.
We'll go back a little bit to my sophomore year in high school when I first wanted to go to Australia so desperately. And I learned about manifesting. I think you just picked up manifesting and visioning and vision boards and writing down a vision and hearing it constantly every day until it, comes into fruition. Then I remember I had a project to, pretty much talk about my future and where I saw myself. And my entire board was just the shape of Australia. And then it had a whole bunch of other stuff that I wanted to do, travel, make money, go to college. But the main board was Australia. And this was sophomore year in high school. Now we come to senior year in high school, and my mom tells me there's this opportunity for me to go. And I am just so thrilled. I was so excited. I was like, yes, let's do it. I had an interview with the school I was going to. I had all my money saved up. Everything was set in place, and I was good to go. I fly over. Flight was kind of shaky, very long flight, 13, 14 hours in the sky. I've never done flights that long.
From
I've always
LAX. That was from LA.
yes.
So you had to fly from San Antonio, Texas, because that's where you are right now, San Antonio, Texas, and you had to fly from there to LAX and then take a flight over to Austin.
It was very long, like 48 hours. So now I'm in Australia. The train system is so weird. The train is in the airport. So I'm trying to find this thing and I'm freaking out. As soon as I get off the flight, it's just like, usually it's like, hey mom, can you help me? Or like, hey mom, what are you doing? Like, can you help me out really quickly? It's just like, my first thought is like, ask mommy. Because mama knows best. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was 18, first time out of the house by myself. And this is happening. I'm in a whole other country. I'm in a whole other land of people who don't know me, who I don't know them or how they operate. And so I'm just like, this is just frustrating because I don't know what to do. And then of course, I'm calling my mom and she's trying to give me the best advice, but general message that she sent me was figure it out. Like, and I was like,
so all in all, for your trip to Australia, you learned a lot. You learned how to get adjusted, and oh my gosh, you had to do this in a whole other country. A lot of people can't even do that here in their own home, in their own state,
exactly.
And so,
And
but
a lot of it also was like, me being in a Bible school, I feel like that gave me it was kind of hard making friends and, finding my place and what I wanted to do and how I was going to get there. But God is just always a constant. And so anytime I felt alone or sad, or I felt like nobody understood me because they, of course, don't know me, and I thought that I didn't know myself because I was like, this is weird. Usually everyone wants to be my friend. Like I mentioned before, I am approachable. I'm funny. I'm awesome. Like, what's happening? I didn't understand. But that was that time that God wanted me to be alone, to be by myself so he could speak to me clearly.
good.
So I feel that my eyes were just honestly opened, and I felt that, during this time, I became very, very, sure in myself and very sure that he would take care of everything and that I had nothing to worry about. And then I was honestly just being an adult, that I was growing up. And it kind of hit me at some places where I was just like, wow, this is adulthood. Like, this is being alone. And, being alone is okay because in your loneliness and your singleness, amazing things happen. You find out what you want, you find out who you are, you find out your relationship with God and what he has to offer rather than what you want to happen. You kind of just like let control go and you let God take it. And it's just like this whole
That's amazing. I have to say, Jessica, that what you just said is profound, because there are actually a lot of people that will jump into relationships just based on that reasoning that they cannot stand to be alone. So no one really has the opportunity to takes the opportunity to really find out about themselves and to really grow and mature, right, in the alone time, so they can be better off in a relationship later. So I think that's amazing that you did that. So all this amazing journey that you've been on, that we've been on together and you've been on by yourself, it's led you to do amazing things. You're in Texas now for the past 3 years, I think it has been. You've been hanging out with your roomies from high school, just the three of you, in a big, beautiful home there in San Antonio. I couldn't be more proud of you. You're rocking it out. You pay your own bills. You refuse to take money from me sometimes. It's like, Mom, chill, I'm good. So,
I'll figure it out, or God will figure it out every single time.
So what are you up to right now? And share with the audience a few things. If there are other kids out there, you're 22, and if there are kids out there about to graduate or even about to think about going to college or doing something with their life, they're young adults, share with them right now what you're up to, some of your goals and dreams, and then maybe some tips on how they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. So I know that's a lot.
Yes. First, of course, I feel a lot of younger people just are trying to find their purpose, what really drives them, what makes them happy, what motivates them to do anything. Because I know even when I found my purpose, it was kind of just like, well, where do I go from here? It's just like, it's kind of hard to put everything into action if you're not willing to put it into action. And so I would first say, find out what makes you happy. What are those little things that you can do that not a lot of other people can do very well or do at all. And so and then start just going with that. Like for me, it's music, and I'm in love with music. I do it all the time. Lyrics come into my head and I can't stop. I have to go find my phone because I'm like, I need to write it down, or I need to sing it out because it's a tune, or, you know, I'll walk into my work and like, I'll have like a song in my head and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go somewhere to go record this so no one thinks I'm crazy. And I have to go on the walk in and like sing into my phone really quickly. And it's so funny because one time someone walked in on me and I was just like, not singing in the walk-in, this isn't weird. And yeah, so I just kind of just found that passion. It's very alive inside of me. So I feel like when you find what just pretty much lights you up from the
Right.
inside, that's when you found it. And then just act on it. Know that failure and disappointment and hard times are going to come no matter what. But doing the things that you love is always going to be there. It's always going to be something that you can go back to, lean on, use as an outlet. It's like the perfect thing to have in your life. And then again, I'm still single and I'm still being in my singleness. So I feel like that's also giving me a lot of perspective. It's giving me a lot of chances to just realize, you know, again, what I want, and what I want out of a relationship as well. Because now I see kids my age getting married, having children, just starting
Crazy.
life right off the
Yeah.
bat. I was definitely one of those people who kind of thought that when I was very young. I thought, when I'm 18, I'm going to be married, I'm going to have kids, I'm going to have this nice house with a farm or something. Like, I just really thought that that's what you did when you were 18. You know, you go to college, you do all this stuff, you do what every other American or any other person really dreams of doing. It's like the American dream. You get a house, you get a family, you get a white picket fence, and you call it a
Right.
day.
And
But
don't
then,
forget you get debt,
yes,
and
and then
which
you
could
get that.
cause divorce. Okay, we got to mention some of the negatives in there too.
Exactly. And so it's just like, you know, find out, is that really what you want? Like, do
Yeah,
you
the all
really?
American dream isn't for everyone, and
It
actually it
is
could be a lie. Like, you know, it could look good and glamorous on the outside, but no one knows what's really going behind, you know, on behind closed
not.
doors.
And
So
exactly. Or are you doing it for your parents, or are you doing it for
right.
you? Who are you doing it for? Find out what you want. Because yes, everyone kind of wants to go to college in the beginning because that's what everybody else does. That's the norm. 'Cause to get a good job, to have a stable, you know, income, to get the house, to get the kids, to get the white picket fence, to get all this other stuff.
The way
But
I guess, like, I guess the goal is for like, what is your goal? I want to hear your like, what's your aspiration? What are you out for?
yes. Well, I was just going to say how, you know, once you find out that that's not all you need to be successful, it's just, it opens up a whole nother door and it makes you realize that this world has so much to offer. And so for me personally, I feel very, you know, motivated to do my music and everything. So right now I'm working on a project. I'm working on my EP that's going to release very soon. Hopefully, I'm trying to do either end of August or beginning of September. So look out for that. My mom
Can you
will be
tell us a
my
little bit about the
social
EP?
media.
What is that? Tell the audience what an EP is.
An EP is pretty much a shortened album. So it's not as long as an album would be, like 14 songs or something. It's about 5 or 6 songs that I'm just going to put together. But
Yeah.
it's very, you know, very deep and very me. And so sometimes I feel it's kind of harder to just give that out to the world. But I know that once I share this part of me, I'm not going to want to stop. I'm not going to want to, you know, just not give out this amazing side of me, because like I said, like in my music, it's just like it goes through everything. It's me. So we talk about the bad times and the good times and how I, you know, went through all of that and overcame it. And, you know, it talks about just everything that aspires to be like me. And like, I don't know. But
It's actually a great opportunity because since you are an award-winning acapellist, I have to put that out there, and singer and rapper, music writer, producer. I mean, you do it all. When you're doing all of that, and when I hear you talk about your music, you light up. And so I think this is an opportunity. When you share your music, you're sharing your lights. You're sharing who you are with the world, and people need to know that. And I think that if and you're kind of giving more permission for other people to share their light and to share what they love with others. And so then it's like you said before, you know, we're learning to be more vulnerable and open, and it's okay to be who we are, and, you know, comfortable in our own skin and comfortable with our own amazingness and talent, and to share it with the
Mhm.
world. How cool is that? You could make a huge impact.
And like I said before, it's just something that makes me so happy that it doesn't matter, even if it would be my career, or, you know, even if I do get famous and all this other stuff that people kind of want from their talents. It's not even like that. It's just like something that I pretty much have to do. It's like breathing and just comes so easily to me.
Uh,
It's just like I have to let it out. Otherwise, you know, I feel like I'm not expressing myself genuinely. It's like you know, some people think that cussing is a bad, you know, expression of yourself. And it's just like, well, it's very real. It's very raw. It's very like, you know, it can just be thrown in there. So I feel like, to me, music is kind of like cussing, because it doesn't need to be in any sentence. It doesn't need to happen, but I like, it just happens that way. It's just very forward. It's very in your face. It's just that has to
Very
happen
bold.
right now. Bold,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes.
I love this. So I just absolutely love having you on the show. This is amazing. You're showing people that even young people can grasp these concepts, these principles, and these values, and to really integrate them with their lives for long-term success. And you're already rocking it out. I already see you doing amazing, even more amazing things. You're singing at the church part-time. You give your time to your friends. You're very thoughtful. You have all these amazing things that you're doing in the world, and I know you're going to continue to be blessed. And just a little side note, when you were talking about your vision board for Australia, I have a picture of that Australian vision board. If anyone is interested, they can check it out in my book, Single Mom Success. There is a picture of her vision board in there. And last but not least, I would love to ask you, if you're interested, if you want to sing a little verse or rap a little verse for us, it's totally up to you. What do you think?
I'd love to, of course.
Just a little something, a little taste so people can, check you out.
No problem.
Go
So,
ahead. It's all you.
I guess I'll do one of my very, not, I guess not popular, but very, you know, most listened to by my friends. They love it the most. So I'll do a little clip of that. It's called Said I Was Over It. And it basically just talks about how, you know, you go through things in life and you kind of just put it into the back of your mind. You're just like, well, you know, I shouldn't think about it. It's over. It's something that, you know, I should be done with. But at the same time, you know that it's just kind of something that you never really settled with. It's never really over. So I said I was over it, but I don't think I really ever will be. So those are the first lines. My downfall. I wonder if my fist could break this drywall. Ooh. I said I was over it. Don't think I really ever will be. I was smothered over loved. Oh wait, that wasn't me. Yeah. But the kisses from my mama, they still linger on my cheeks. But the love of a boy might have mama's kisses beat. Yeah. And control never ate it, so I hated all delete. And I said I was over it. I think I'm further underneath. Yeah.
Bravo, bravo. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Jessica. I could not have I can't express how excited I am to have you. And I thank God for you every day. You're always in my prayers. You're amazing. And continue to go out and do great things. If you guys want to check out Jessica, my baby girl, she is on Instagram at It's Jessica Brooks. Is that correct? ITS Jessica Brooks. Look her up, check her out. Some of her sound bites are on there. As soon as she drops her EP, we will let everyone know where they can find that. So definitely support her and go out, do great things. Thank you so much, Jessica. I really appreciate it. Love you, kids.